Hey, thanks for joining us for another 20 for 20. Tony and I just got done watching the first round of the NFL draft a couple minutes ago. Tony, what'd you think? It was good to have football back, right?
Yeah, it was great. And then from an Alabama's perspective, got off to a flying start and then just kind of flatlined a little bit.
Yeah, no, we thought we'd have a couple more guys to talk about tonight. We expected at least one of McKinney or Diggs to go maybe at the end of the round, but both of those guys will have to wait another day.
Yeah, to recap, Tua went 5 overall to the Dolphins. Jedrick Wills Jr. went 10 overall to the Browns. Uh, Henry Ruggs III went 12 overall to the Raiders. And Jerry Jeudy went, sorry, it's late. Jerry Jeudy went 15 overall to the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, like I said, the draft just finished up about 15 or 20 minutes ago, so we're staying up late to record this one and finish writing. So you can kind of see it's getting to Tony.
Yeah, a little bit, little slug. Got
uh,
the got the coffee, and we're good.
so today's topic we wanted to talk about. We wanted to go ahead and make our predictions for which one of these guys we think is going to have the best rookie season next year. And Tony, I think you have a guy in mind already.
Yeah, I really like Jedrick Wills Jr. I think he went to an offense that, yeah, sure, it underperformed, a team that underperformed last year, but look at the offense he has around him. He's going to be blocking for Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. He's going to have OBJ and Jarvis Landry as receivers, and if they can figure something out with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, or if it's Case Keenum, who knows? I feel like that could be a really good offense, and I feel like having a guy like Jedrick Wills could really transform that offense. I think the Browns GM said that they're going to move him to left tackle, and I think that was something that Nick Saban said that he was able to do, and so I think it'll be really interesting to see him make that transition. But I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be a day one starter, obviously, and really maybe be one of the missing pieces to that Browns team that we thought was going to take a next step last year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Wills is a great pick. Obviously, I agree with Tony. I think he's going to be a day one starter. I definitely think he can handle the transition to left tackle. I'm not sure that'll be a big deal for him. I decided to go with a little bit of a flashier pick. I decided to go with Henry Ruggs to the Raiders. Sort of the reasoning behind that was, for me, it really came down to Jeudy or Ruggs. I think both guys are in great situations. They're going to be top two or higher in the passing game hierarchy on both those teams. And, the quarterback plays a little suspect at both places, but, it's not there are worse options in the league, especially I think at the Raiders. I think people kind of view Derek Carr as kind of a boring guy right now, but he completed 70% of his passes and he had 513 attempts last season. So,
And they've got Mariota too, I think, right? I'm pretty
mhm.
sure they signed Marcus Mariota too. So if Derek Carr isn't the guy, they've got another option that's you would think would be capable as well. Neither of those two guys are super flashy, but like you said, like I think if you were going to make a case for the receiver, I think um, I personally like the Raiders and where Henry Ruggs
Mhm.
landed more than the Broncos. But hey, Drew Lock might be doing. He might be turning things around in Denver as well.
Yeah, and I almost went Judy. This was like for me, like a 55-45 sort of split decision. I just, when I went down and I looked over their offenses, um, as great as Judy is, I think he's going to be behind Cortland Sutton in the pecking order next year for the Broncos, which makes sense. Sutton's been there longer, and Sutton's looked great. And when you look at the Raiders passing game, you have Darren Waller, a tight end who was really great for all of my fantasy teams last year. um, but he had 117 targets, and then the next sort of guy in the passing game for the Raiders was Tyrell Williams. He only had 64 targets, and he had some injuries that kept him out of I think 4 games, at least 3 games last year, and then really limited him in some other action. So I just think there's a lot of targets, and I just think that Henry Ruggs is going to slide in and be the number one receiver. I don't know if he's going to pass Darren Waller in total targets and receptions the first year right away, but I just think there's a bigger hole in the Raiders passing game than there is in the Broncos right now.
And I,
So
I really like the dimension that Josh Jacobs gives to that
Hmm.
offense too, which might take some pressure off the passing game. I like that pick.
Hmm.
I could really see that pick. What about the one guy we're not talking about, Tua Tagovailoa, number 5 to the Dolphins? You think?
Yeah, the first Alabama player drafted is the last guy that's going to come up on our podcast. Tony, you can sort of weigh in, but for me, I think the reason I didn't think of Tua here says a lot more about my faith or lack thereof in the Dolphins, where they're going to be at this point next year than maybe Tua. I just, you know, they drafted an offensive lineman and then they went out and got a cornerback. Um, I'm not sure they have enough offensive firepower for Tua to really take advantage of right away. So that's sort of why I didn't go with Tua. I'm not really that worried about the injuries right now, and I'm not really worried about his talent. I just think 2 years from now, Tua might be the best guy to this group, but maybe not right away.
Yeah, I didn't love Miami's pick. I
Hmm.
love the pick of Tua, and then after that, I thought it was weird to me how they approached the draft. You would think, if you're gonna go with a tackle and you have all those picks, why don't you go and grab one of the elite tackles? Why
Hmm.
don't you trade up? What was it? Is it Tampa Bay that traded up one pick to
Hmm.
make sure they got their
Yeah.
guy? Do that. But you can criticize Tampa Bay all you want for trading up to get worse, but like they got their guy.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They got a guy that they feel comfortable with. I really doubt Miami went into this, um, draft. I think they probably thought they could have maybe gotten one of those tackles
Hmm.
before. Maybe it fell to them, or if not, I just feel like they should have done that. I think that you need someone to protect too, and I think they reached there. I forget the tackle from Southern California, and then
Hmm.
I think they kind of reached with it in Inagabi. I can't say it, guys. Sorry, but no, they,
Props for trying the name.
yeah, it's late, and I'm not gonna. Um. Yeah. Anyways, but the Auburn cornerback, and I think he's really good, but I also think that was kind of a reachy pick as well. So you got Tua, and then like two reachy picks. I just thought that I expected Miami to do way better than that, but I don't know. I'm not a draft expert.
Mm.
I cover Alabama, so that being said, I don't love the way the Dolphins approached
Hmm.
it. That just doesn't give me a lot of confidence that like Tua is going to be good right away. That being said, I think Tua is the best player
Yeah.
that was drafted tonight. So obviously he's that talent's gonna translate to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, yeah, we'll see how the draft progresses. Maybe the Dolphins can kind of get some firepower for Tua to take advantage of later. But yeah, I don't know. When I think about Tua, I think about like the skill players he's got around him, and I'm not I'm not blown away by that. And when I look at the Dolphins' offensive line, I'm kind of I kind of agree with you. It would have been nice, and maybe the Dolphins tried and they couldn't pull it off, but it would have been nice if they could have got one of those four tackles.
And if you're
You know,
worried about Tua, if you're at all worried about Tua's injury, you're gonna protect him. You're gonna spend that extra. Look, the Bucks knew that they needed help on the offensive line, and they traded to get
mm,
Tom Brady some protection. I get the Bucks are in more of a win now mode than the
mm-hmm,
Dolphins are, but still, I think when you get a game changer like that, you have to do everything you can to protect him and to set things up for him. And maybe the Dolphins did that, but gut instinct right now, I just don't think that they did
mm-hmm.
enough.
Yeah, I think we both probably agree though. 2, 3 years out, Tua probably has the brightest future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if he's not
So
dead because of the Miami offensive line.
yeah, he's got to, he might have to tough it out and have some close calls this first year if the Dolphins' offensive line can shape up a little bit. But yeah, I think Tua's got a bright future. The reason I sort of like this question and Tony came up with it, so all props to Tony. But it's hard to predict sort of which guys are going to have these big rookie years. Sometimes guys take another year, or they get buried in an offense, and talent isn't always the biggest factor. So I think Tony kind of went with Wills, and I would guess. Did you consider picking any of the receivers, or did you feel pretty confident from the start that he was your guy?
I was looking at the receivers, but then after I really liked the Wills pick just
Mm-hmm.
because, like I said, I think I think that the Browns were a better team than they showed. I think,
Mm-hmm.
that the player that went to the best team, the Alabama, I think that the Alabama player that went to the best team was Wills. I think the
Mm-hmm.
Browns have the most talent around them, and I think maybe what they needed was an offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the idea of him blocking for Nick Chubb.
Mm-hmm.
You look at a run blocker like Jedrick Wills; he's elite. Um, Maybe they change. I know they have the wide receivers, but maybe they are a running team. Maybe you just hand Chubb the ball and you run the offense through him, and maybe that takes some pressure off of Baker, and he's able to find these elite receivers. I like what I see with
Mm-hmm.
the Browns, and it's kind of hard because they're the Browns and they always find
Yeah.
a way to mess it up. But I'm not. I think when you look at the talent, I think this could be a playoff team.
Yeah, it was tough to watch the Browns last year, especially, Freddie Kitchens is in charge. A lot of people want him to sort of do well and succeed, and just
So much
the
expectations to start the season too.
yeah, I honestly, and maybe the expectations kind of set him up for failure. Just, I mean, when you have that much talent on an offense, you sort of expect it to explode, and maybe Wills can sort of give him that boost.
Yeah, it was an undisciplined team too, and I don't I was Freddie Kitchens is a cool dude, and I think you
Hmm.
just kind of root for him, especially from an Alabama perspective. But I don't think he did a great job, and I think
Hmm.
that team was undisciplined and it had problems throughout. And I think you look at the team, like I said, it just underperformed. So
Hmm.
maybe a restart. You still have a lot of the big time players. They've got backup plans. I'm not saying that Chase Keenum's a great player, but at least as a backup quarterback, he's not bad. And so you have options and you have skill players around. Around the quarterback position. I think that adding Jedrick Wills was such a great pick for them.
Yeah. Real quick before we get out of here, if you had to pick one of these four guys, it's going to have the worst season. Not going to be a bust, not a bad season, but if you had to pick one that you think he's going to have a tough or a tougher rookie year, which one would you pick, do you think?
I think I don't even know if it's a tougher one. Like it's just such an uncertainty of like what is Tua? Are we going to
Mhm.
get a full season from Tua? Are they going to ease him in? Does it even make sense to play
Mhm.
Tua at first?
Mhm.
If you're the Dolphins, if you're looking at your team right now, especially with the teams, the picks that they made kind of all look like not now guys. They're like
Mhm.
guys that like maybe we look back and we're like, oh, this was a smart pick. But I don't think you could make that argument that they're necessarily like plug in and just. So I don't know if Miami's a playoff contender or even close to
Mhm.
that now. So does it make sense to throw Tua into the fire and rush him back? I get that he's healthy enough to play,
Mhm.
but maybe you ease him in. You still got Drew Rosen. Um, Maybe you just kind of make that work. That to me makes a little bit more sense. And so if you're going that route, yeah, sure, Tua might have the lowest impact season. I'm not even going to say the
Mhm.
worst season, just might not come in until later. Might be eased in. Honestly, I feel like that might be the best for him. I'm sure he's going to want to play, but
Mhm.
I think being able to be eased in, making sure he's 110% healthy, um, and then kind of working from there.
Yeah, absolutely. With do they still have Fitzpatrick there as well?
Miami?
Yeah.
Oh, Ryan. I was gonna think you meant Minka. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, forgive us by the way for not knowing who's
Yeah,
Miami's offense right now at 11:56. I will
yeah.
fully confess I did not watch a lot of the Dolphins last year, so hold that against me. But
Hold on.
yeah, Anthony's gonna look it up
They
and fact check
do.
it
They
for
have,
us.
according to quick Google search, they have Rosen and Fitzpatrick. So
Yeah, so yeah, they have options. They have guys they can play. They don't have to play Tua. Um, that's not really what factors into me, but I would say too as well. There's a lot of uncertainty. Miami might not be in a win now or win this season position next year. So yeah, maybe they don't play Tua the first month of the season. And even if they do, I'm still skeptical of the weapons around him and everything, like I said. So yeah, for me, I think it'd be Tua. Tony, I don't think there's any reason for us to it's about to hit midnight. I don't think there's any reason for us to keep going any further, but we want to thank y'all for checking in and following our draft coverage and watching the video. Definitely continue to like and subscribe to these videos so you can keep up with us. And and comment and let us know, because this was a tough pick for me. I really sat down and worked through it. Do y'all think it's going to be one of those receivers or Wills, or maybe some of y'all are more bullish on how Tua is going to be right away in his first year with the Dolphins? And while you're there, give it comment as well and let us know who you think is sort of going to be not a bust again, not that they're going to do bad, but maybe who's going to have the worst rookie season of the four. We'd love to get your feedback and see that. I'm interested to see what everyone thinks. I'm still kind of working through it, but so it's 11:57, so I think Tony and I are gonna get some sleep here soon, and we'll be back in to check in with y'all tomorrow with another video. But just again, thanks for joining us and enjoy day 2 of the draft.